Okay. Hyperhidrosis. Hi.
Hi.
Hyperhidrosis.
Hyperhidrosis. I knew you were going to say that.
Hey, do you go by Stephanie?
No.
Never? I didn't say that. I just made that up. This is a name that I pulled out of a hat, but that's not your name, right?
No, not anymore.
Spectra.
Yes.
Stewart? Or
Yes.
just Spectra? Okay. And then if I was going to like Spectra Stewart, comma, and something in italics, like what would that be?
Superhero. I don't know.
That's good. Saves us some time. We don't have to parse all the little things that you do. Welcome to Friends with Deficits. I'm your host, Adam Sultan. And boy, is it hot in here. Actually, I have the AC on. It isn't really hot at all. So why is my guest sweating? Let's find out as we explore hyperhidrosis with my friend Spectra Stewart, superhero. She's got a lot to share with y'all, so we broke the conversation into 2 episodes. This is part 1, Spectra Stewart, super sweaty.
Friends with Deficits.
Do we want to talk about the hyperhidrosis?
Let's talk about the hyperhidrosis. Let's just cut to the chase.
Okay. People in the hyperhidrosis community abbreviate it HH if that's easier to help you.
All
you
right,
don't
so
have to
from
keep
now
saying
on, we'll call it
hyperhidrosis.
HH. Okay.
Yeah.
I looked it up, and apparently hydrosis is a standalone term.
Is it?
Yeah, but I think that just means like sweating.
Okay, so then
Like
hyper sweaty.
Yeah.
Super sweat. That's what my initials are.
Super sweat. SS. So you are
Super
sweaty.
sweaty. Yeah.
You are a sweaty girl. You
I
don't look
am a
like
sweaty
now.
girl.
Are your palms sweating right now?
Yes. You want to
Can I
touch
feel
it?
They are.
Did
Oh
you
my
doubt?
God. Is that the only place you sweat?
So most people have it in around 3 places. I have, it's called palmar and plantar, which is hands and feet. Mm-hmm. And then there's craniofacial, which people sweat on their face a lot. But a lot of people have combination too. And then there's axillary, which is your armpits.
Right.
And I really feel bad for people that have that because God,
I've known people who have that, and you see like
awful.
they have like constantly have
yeah,
like
they
napkins
actually
under their arms and
put maxi pads inside to absorb their sweat. There's and then there's people that have it just pretty much all over, and that's just poor things.
So,
I'm kind of lucky.
So when did you get this?
So I've had it my whole life. I was a clammy baby, but it wasn't full-blown sweat like I have now. I remember, the first time I remember it, I was around 8. And Mom said that she remembered it before that.
When do children even begin to sweat?
That's the thing. You know, usually it's puberty and people don't have any of those kind of problems. So I knew that I was kind of weird and different at an early age. Huh. So I was like, oh, nobody has
But did you only notice it was only in your hands and feet?
It was only hands and feet.
What about just regular, if it was really hot out and it's just sunny and you're exercising, like would you normally perspire?
No. Mm-mm.
Okay, so it was literally just...
Mm-hmm. Now that I joined the group, I don't know if I'm paying more attention to my sweat, but I noticed that I do sweat in more places than my hands and feet now. I don't know if that's new or if it's just that I have all the time and I just never really thought about it.
Is it just like normal sweat that you sweat in other places?
No, I wish. No, like my top lip.
Yeah.
My top lip just beads up. Like as soon as I get hot, almost always I have like a wet mustache.
Wow.
And my face.
Right. Mm-hmm. But that could be, that's not like, it's beyond normal, you would say? Like beyond...
Oh, it's noticeably, people would probably comment on it. It's not just like a little damp glistening.
Right.
No, it's like, okay, the beads are forming and it's running.
Wow. And that's new?
And drip. I don't remember it my whole life, so I'm wondering if it's one of the treatments that I've done for the HH, and if that's made it kind of come out in other areas.
And you said you're in a group?
I'm in a support group on Facebook.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
Not a meetup group?
No, there's not enough people. They're all over the world. There's so few of us. It's only 7 million people in the entire world probably have it.
What does the support group provide?
Well, there's actually, people have tried all types of things. They've, medicines, there's all kinds of treatments, but Botox, a lot of them don't work for everyone, so people are always like, did this work? I have this, it doesn't work for me, what do you do?
Have you done the Botox?
I have not. I'm needle averse. I have a thing against needles.
Break out in sweat.
I don't That was good.
It
That
was? I
really
was
good.
thinking, God, you
No,
probably
that
heard
was
this
good.
1,000 times.
I'm amused. I'm
Okay.
amused. The biggest, newest thing is called Iontophoresis. Yeah, Iontophoresis. We just call it Ionto. It's easier that way. And that's the newest treatment, and that's the one that everybody's like, oh, you're sweating? You got to try this. And so when I got on there, I was like, what is this Ionto that they speak of? And I tried it, and it worked.
And what is it? Is it a pill or is it medicine? Is it...
No, it's a, it looks like a torture device. You basically put your hands in tap water, or you can add baking soda or salt to make it more conductive. And you put your hands in aluminum pans, and you hook up alligator clips to a battery.
This sounds like
It's
not
crazy.
safe at all.
I know, that's why I researched. And I got a deer feeder battery. I went to Academy and I got a deer feeder battery.
Wow.
It's 12 volts, or you can hook up 9
You do it
volt-
yourself? It's not like
I do it myself, yeah. Wow. And I was scared as heck when I first did it, putting my hands in the water, but it works.
So what is it doing? It's electrically...
You know what? It's magic.
I would think so.
Magic. And you do it for people say you can do it for 10 minutes. Some people do it longer. 20 minutes is about the agreed upon time. So you put your hands in for 20 minutes, you take them out, you reverse the polarity because one's stronger than another.
Okay.
And then you do it for another 20 minutes. So 40 to 45 minutes a day, you have to do this at about the same time every day.
And it's a battery basically submerged in water, or like...
The battery's not in the water. Your hands are in the water, and the pans, as long as you don't touch the pans, because that's a bad thing. Because, it gives you a jolt,
Yeah.
But it's only 12 volts. It's not like it's a car battery or it's not going to kill you.
And it's worked, you said?
It has worked. I did it once. It's just really difficult for me to find the regular time, so I'm going to switch probably from evening to the morning, because my evening schedule is so messed up. Morning, if I can do it every morning, it's supposed to take some people did it in 10, 11 days, it started working, and some people it took 2 months. But usually it's around day 16, 18, then you start noticing that your hands are drier. And then actually a lot of people's too, they start sweating more before they get better. And people are like, oh no, it's not working. And they're like, no, don't give up. That means it's working. A little longer, like 5 more days. And I was like, no, this sucks. This is awful. Look at my hands. And then like 2 days later, I was like, oh, they're not sweat. But as soon as so this is another thing. As soon as we think about it, immediate sweat. Like if there are occasional times where my hands are dry, and then somebody will say, oh, are your hands dry? And I'll go, well, they were a second ago, because it's like instant.
Is it just nerves that set it off?
I've read that it's a disorder of the sympathetic nervous system. There's actually supposed to be a treatment where they go in and they sever the nerve to the hands. They go through your armpit and they make a 1/12 of an inch incision, and it stops the sweating to your hands and feet. However, they didn't do enough research, and most people that get that have had such terrible compensatory sweating that they sweat all over their body. And they're like, oh my God, I would have rather have never, dealt with just hands and feet than all over.
Yeah.
So I'm glad I didn't do that.
Had you tried other things before this?
I personally have not. I'm not a real big medicine fan, and a lot of people are ready to jump on the medicine bandwagon and just say, hey, take this, it'll make it go away. And I'm like, yeah, but what else will it do, And a lot of people are like, yeah, the side effects suck and this and this. So I haven't done the medicine. There are, I would say, 4 or 5 different medicines that can deal with sweat in different places. And then there is something that is something I'm thinking about trying, and it's a patch, and you can put it behind your ear, and it helps with craniofacial sweating, which I sometimes have. Yeah. And I thought, if I ever want to go somewhere and I don't want my makeup pooling off of my face, then I can do that like the day before or something.
What about, I know people,
say they've used antiperspirants, but I don't know if you could use that on
screw
their hand.
them. See, that's like saying, oh, you have diabetes. We'll just stop eating sugar, and everything will be fine. It's not a normal sweat. Clinical stuff doesn't touch it. Like when people say, oh, just wipe your hands off. Yeah, no, it doesn't. It's not like that. Okay, so here, feel the wet one. Okay, that's the wet one. And here's dry, but feel it's not ever really dry.
Right.
See? There's certain things, too, that make it sweat more.
Right.
Like holding change, like touching metal. Like if I'm holding onto a pole in the bus or something, it'll drip right down my pinky, down my wrist, to my elbow. Like I wear a lot of cottony things because cotton, it just keeps me from sweating as much. But if I wear like back in the day when I used to go to church and wear like fancy shoes and I didn't have socks on and I had nylon dress, the polyester mixture. Oh my God, I would just... And then you had to turn around and greet your neighbor and shake hands. That was the most mortifying moment. And that was always like, wipe, wipe, wipe. And then I'm like, hurry up, shake it before it gets wet. And it was always freezing in church. And so my hands were wet and cold. And you can't explain, the people look at you kind of weird, like, why is your hand wet and cold? Wow. It was just so embarrassing, it was just, now I don't care. Now I've accepted it.
Well, you lived with it a long time, right?
Yeah, but some people, in our group, they're in their 50s and 60s, and they still are fighting with it. Like they can't come to terms with it. It depresses them. It upsets them. I don't want to give it that much attention in my life. Yeah, it's a nuisance. Yeah, it's annoying, but I'm not unhealthy. Right. I don't have a condition where my health is deteriorating.
Right.
It's just annoying.
Is there any benefits of it?
Actually, there's a few. So I've never had to lick a stamp. I could almost seal an envelope as long as I don't try a paper cut. I have to go away from the edge.
That's a weird thing.
but at the same time, if I touch something that has glue on it and it's sticky, and like a cigarette paper, I can't even touch those. The whole package will just stick to my hands.
Keeps you from smoking, I guess.
Yep. There you go.
Wow.
I can, like this couch right here, if it had dog hair all over it, I could go like this and delint it for you. I could just wipe it right off.
Nice. It's handy.
It's pretty cool. What else can I do? There's a lot of things that it's kind of like a suction cup for paper, so I can put my hand down and just turn a page like that.
Wow.
Not that that's
licking the page
no,
turn the page.
Just the page sticks to my hand.
That's pretty good.
Mm-hmm. There's very few things that it's good for. I can smooth my hair too. If I get little wispies and flyaways, I just go like that. It's like lotion. Speaking of lotion, I don't own lotion.
Right.
None of the hyperhidrosis people use lotion. It's like kryptonite. It just makes you sweat more. It's so interesting. I would love to learn more. I wish they would devote some money and time to figuring out what this is all about.
I'm sure they are.
Yeah.
I'm sure they are.
They. I noticed on the group, somebody said, "So, were any of y'all preemies? Were you born early? This and that." And we tried blood types. What is it? This is it? And it's all over different countries.
Wow.
So it's hard to narrow down why we think this happens. I think it might be birth trauma, but then I saw some people that had it that didn't have birth trauma.
Did you have birth trauma?
I did.
Okay.
I did, because I was like, okay, what's different about me? What could have happened?
Yeah.
That I had this. I think that trauma somehow does something to the pathway in your brain. I really do.
Yeah, and so many people, we have trauma we don't even know.
Yeah,
I mean,
we're
apart from people who do have trauma they know, but
birth
just
itself.
birth itself. Yeah.
There you go. Birth itself is traumatizing. Coming from you're in this nice warm, spa, and then all of a sudden, bam!
Yeah.
No wonder the first thing we do is cry.
What was it like just being a kid or growing up or a teenager?
So I haven't been okay with it until I'd say fairly recently. So, of course, growing up with it was tough and embarrassing, and it's the social things. Hands are involved in so many social things. Just shaking hands by itself it has so much trauma for HH people.
Did you get used to hugging a lot instead?
Actually, even hugging. Most people, when they hug, their hands touch the back of someone. You know, you do that and your hands touch them.
Yeah.
Well, I have learned how to hug with my hands turned the other way.
Oh, interesting.
With my palms facing out. Because if you can feel my hand on you, it's hot.
Yeah.
And if I put my hand on you, it'll leave like this warm, damp spot. And I don't want anybody to feel that. And so...
It does. Your hands don't look. They're kind of deceiving. Like they're not dripping.
Not at the moment, right?
But they have that feeling though. They do feel like warm and damp.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Wow.
Oh,
to
my
learn how to
goodness.
rehug.
Oh yeah, and it's just stuff that I think I picked. I learned as a child. Like, oh, if I do this, then this will happen. So don't ever do that again. Or, you know. When I was dating a guy, I was hugging him all the time, and I would use the back of my hand and rub. And then I saw his little girl, she was like 6, and he picked her up, and she was hugging him, and she did the same thing, and she turned her hand with the back of her hand and stuff. And I thought, oh, she's been watching me, and she's hugging him the same
way. Man.
And I thought, oh, that's when I realized, oh crap, I'm different, I'm weird. It's a reminder. Normally I don't think about that.
Do you still do that?
I think it depends on who it is. If it's somebody I'm close to, I usually put my hands on them, and they expect it and they know.
Right.
But if it's a stranger, I even ball my fists up and I just because I don't
What
want
about
to
with handshakes? How do you get around that?
I don't want to feel slimed. Handshakes. Oh God. So it's always great when I have like a cold, wet bottle of water in my hand, because then I switch hands and I just reach out and they have no idea.
Yeah.
They think it's the water.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So that's handy, but I can't just do that all the time. So nowadays, I don't worry about it. I wipe my hand off just because, the less sweat, the better.
Yeah.
And then I extend it, and if they look at me and they look at their hand like, ew, gross, then I don't want to be friends with that person, and they could just get the hell out of my face, Or sometimes, actually, sometimes they'll say, oh, I'm sorry, my hands are really sweaty, I have hyperhidrosis. And sometimes they don't even respond. And sometimes they say, what? What is that? I was like, oh, just where my hands and feet sweat really bad. Oh, interesting. And then the next subject. It's like the more people that know, the better for all of us.
Yeah. So your feet also have this?
Oh, my God.
Oh, shit.
See, you probably can't tell, but...
You're wearing socks.
Yeah. But I could
can't really
change
tell.
my socks 7 times a day and never have dry socks.
So that sounds like it would be just that your feet would suffer, or your hands too for that matter, but like just getting waterlogged or whatever.
Yes. So as a child, I had such bad sweating, and I think it was because I didn't realize that I needed cotton socks, and now I only wear pretty much cotton socks. I'm learning more and more about this, so I didn't realize I needed to change my socks often, and what would happen is my toes would crack. I would get such deep cracks that it was like bloody cracks, and they burned and they hurt, and I'd get little blisters, and I would show Mom and Dad, and they're like, oh no, what's going on, honey? And Dad would take a little vitamin E tablet and cut it and rub it on my toes, and then I realized, I just need to change my socks more and wear better socks, and I don't have a problem anymore. I have really, really soft feet. They're like virgin feet. They never see the light of day. I can't wear sandals, actually. I don't own flip-flops. That's like not even an option, because my feet, the heel and the back, if I'm not strapped into a shoe, even if I am and it's wet, my heel slides all over the place. It's awful. I've actually come up with a fix for that, because I wanted to wear high heels and I was just like slipping out of them. So I would go get felt, and I would cut out felt for the bottom of all my shoes and glue them in there, because that gave me some kind of traction, and that helps. But I'm pretty much a combat boot work shoe kind of girl.
So just changing the socks helps it from not, like, they don't blister anymore?
They don't. I don't know if that was just because back in the 70s we wore nylon-y things,
I guess so, yeah.
That's the first time my mom noticed it. She said that she had just bathed me and put on my footy pajamas, and we were watching a movie, and she's like, "What is that smell?" And they finally traced it down to my feet in my footy pajamas. It was those, that plasticky bottom with those nylon-y pajamas.
Yeah.
And they cut all of the feet off of and I was sad.
Oh, man.
I was like, oh, man. And the feet in the winter are probably the most problematic, because when you go outside and it's cold and there's snow and your feet are wet, it sets you up for frostbite.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what I do to my feet, they're never dry, so they're always cold in the winter. I'm always cold.
Is it a daily thing? Has it been there?
Oh my God.
It's like an
It's
hourly,
an hourly,
minutely thing?
yeah, it's an hourly thing. If I didn't wear a glove while driving, I would lose control of my vehicle and wreck. I have to wear something or wrap the steering wheel.
Yeah, I was going to say, you can wrap the steering
Yeah,
wheel.
I also don't like big, chunky, fat.
Yeah.
All the ones that they make now, right?
Yeah.
Are too fat, and I want better control. So I just wear a golf glove. It works for me. And putting on a glove is almost impossible sometimes. It depends on like rubber gloves. If they're not huge, I can't even get a rubber glove on. It's just like,
Oh, man.
it's just. And then once I have it on, not 5 minutes, and it's just pouring out sweat. So I think that my least favorite thing in the world, doorknobs, round freaking doorknobs. Wow. I cannot work a doorknob with my bare hands. I have to take the edge of my shirt and put it over the doorknob and turn it.
Oh, man.
Worst invention ever. And when we lived in Germany, they have the
Levers? Or
yeah, those. And I love those. And you could do that with your elbow if you have to,
Yeah.
So I think we should change all the doorknobs in the world.
Just for you. Spectra needs
just
new
makes
doorknobs.
sense.
That's sad. Mm-hmm. Because doorknobs are everywhere.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I went to my chiropractor, and they had a massage therapy in the same building. And I went into the ladies' bathroom, and I guess they had massage oil on their hands, and I couldn't get out of the bathroom. I unlocked it, but I knocked until somebody let me out, because they didn't have paper towels or anything in there. It was one of those dryer things.
Yeah.
And it sucks. Imagine going and running your hands underwater, shake them off, and then walk around with your hands like that all the time. It changes everything.
Yeah.
And there's such a bad stigma around sweat, I mean, people are always like, it's gross, it's dirty. And so that's why people with HH are so embarrassed, because if people didn't have that feeling about it, it was just like, oh yeah, so what, no big deal. Sweat isn't a big deal, then there wouldn't be so many depressed, stressed out people with this.
I've noticed that sweat is a kind of a polarizing thing. Like, some people are completely averse to it's gross, and then other people are like, I love sweat. Get your sweat on me, kind of thing.
Those are the people I love.
Yeah, there you go. Was it ever like dripping sweat, or is it always just that kind of like constant sticky perspiration?
Yes, it does. It drips. If I sweat 10 times, 1 to 2 times, it's drippy sweat. And I'm in Texas.
Yeah. Texas is not going to help you there, I'm afraid to say.
Yeah.
Powerful Texas weather makes for powerful Texas sweat. Has the blinding sun given you more than just bikini lines? Don't be embarrassed. Demand an antiperspirant that gets the job done. And when you find one, can you please let the hyperhidrosis community know about it? HH. You don't have to live in Texas for it to suck.
Paid for by concerned citizens for a drier America.
I can't do things that I love, and that's frustrating. Like I wanted, when that stripper pole thing came out, and it was all the fad, the rage, I was like, yeah!
Pole dancing. Concussion!
Well, no. Yeah, exactly. I have upper body strength, and I was like, I'm going to rock that. Oh, wait a minute. Shit, I can't even hold on to the pole.
Oh, man.
So I tried kitchen gloves. That was sexy too. And I can kind of go up and hang on, but you can't spin, you can't do any of the tricks. And so I was like, man, I went through a really tough phase of letting that go as an option. I cried. I was like, damn it, I would have rocked this shit. Oh, well.
Shit, yeah.
Oh, well. So I let that go. I actually had one and I sold it. I was like, okay.
You sold what? You had a pole?
I had a pole.
How did you not, when did it dawn on you?
I tried and I tried.
But you knew going in, it's like
so
this may be an issue.
So they had this stuff, and it was supposed to help you with sweaty hands, but it helps normal people with sweaty hands. And so you would put this liquid on, and it would turn into this powder. And then it would turn into this powder, and then 30 seconds later, it would turn into this gooey cake for me.
Oh, man.
And dancing. Swing dancing. Where you do all the spinning and you have to hold on to somebody's hands. I'm like, whoosh, across to the other side of the room. No, there's no holding on to this.
I'm holding on to hope that you can hold on. Just thinking surely we could swing dance. Really?
I tried. So I have to find something, a way, because I love it.
Yeah.
I love dancing. I also remember one of my first memories, I think I was 8, of having this, to deal with this, was bowling. My parents were in a bowling league. And it was you finish your homework while they're bowling, and then if there was little time, I got to bowl. Well, they had that little fan at the end of where the balls go, and I would put my hand there, and I would dry it, and then I would reach for my ball, and as I'm reaching for my ball and getting standing, it's already full of sweat again. And so I couldn't hold on to the ball right to bowl well.
You sound like that you've done some bowling, no?
I've bowled, but it was mostly watching my parents. I know how.
But as an adult, you haven't done. Oh, okay.
No, I really can't. I mean, not well.
No,
you have to be able to hold on to your balls.
That's true. That's what they say. Yeah. Were you just blowing on your palm?
Yeah.
Was that a joke, or did you actually do that?
Yeah. Every now and then it takes it down a half a knot to less pawns in my hand. Yeah, it's pretty gross.
You could probably keep a fish alive in your hand. That's good.
This is true. That just kind of stirred something in the back of my mind that I did use it for good one time. I used my powers for good.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, I can't remember what it was. It's just very on the outskirts of my brain. I was thinking that if my hand were not moist like that I couldn't have done that. Whatever it was, I'll have to think of that.
Hand job?
Yeah, it does. You know what? It does help for massage and stuff.
And if you're a massage therapist, you could just rub your palms together instead.
Man, you add this.
I'm gonna get a little oil. Just wait just a moment. It. They're on their stomach and just making all this noise.
And I don't even have anything.
Let me know if this is too wet or too warm or too cold. Yeah. Should we wrap it up?
Yeah.
I feel like this is a good ending.
Oh yeah, that was intense.
It was. I want to shake your hand, Spectra.
My sweaty ass hand.
Your hand doesn't feel. It's not. Oh yeah.
It is so. Oh yeah.
It's weird because when you first touch it, it doesn't feel sweaty, and then I kind of let go, and it's.
And the more you touch it,
the more sweaty
it gets.
Keep touching
it, the more sweaty it's gonna get.
Kind of literally squeeze your hand, juice your hand.
Juice my hand.
That sounds kinky.
Yeah, it does.
All right. Special thanks to my guest and friend Spectra Stewart for sharing about her life. She'll be back for part 2 with some super sensitive information. Hey, if you like Friends with Deficits, please join our community on Facebook and on Instagram. You can also subscribe, rate, and review the show on Apple Podcasts, which helps boost visibility to reach a wider listening audience. And if you'd like to sustain the show by becoming a supporter, visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/friendswithdeficits. I'm Adam Sultan. Until next time, don't sweat the small stuff.
Friends with Deficits.